Tom Trbojevic!
Get ready for a Tommy Turbo Masterclass. Tameless Tuesday is here. And the boys are hard as a rock. Don't be a weak-gutted dog. Leave that for Jamin Salmon. Get ready for the best Supercoach show on the planet. It's so good, it's better than Lego. You're now listening to the Supercoach Experience Podcast. Here's your host, Brandon Savage.
Hello and welcome back to the Supercoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Jamin Salmons. Jamin Salmon has come off an absolute masterclass Supercoach score and NRL-wise, but we're here to talk about Supercoach. Here today, joined with me is the 2021 champion, Timmy Moody. How are you, Timmy?
Yeah, coming off a bit of a rough Supercoach week. Few realisations that I've made, too many mistakes this year, just one way or the other sort of decisions, 50-50s, and gone down the wrong path too often. And, it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of the season, but just sort of disappointed with a lot of the last little period for myself. So hopefully I can turn that around, make some really sharp decisions going forward.
It's very tricky, isn't it? Because I feel like some decisions you made in the last few weeks, they make sense. They make so much sense. And if it went your way, you'd be 1,500 more ranks than you are now. But
yeah,
Gutho versus Kennedy a few weeks back for you. Obviously trying to go the pod route because was it Buller that made you do it?
Yeah, well, I've made a lot of mistakes in fullback this year, I think, as well. So, but more recently in that, if I had to pick Buller up, that was the move. So, getting that wrong hurt. Wanted to sort of do well in the fullback outside of that, and it was just tossing up between Gutho and Kennedy. As I said on the show last week, I thought, Gutho with no Moses, no Dillbags there as well. I think it could be hard for him alone. And I thought that Will Kennedy in a full strength side, being able to, really put on a good team effort, he'd be able to reap the benefits and rewards of that. So it didn't turn out that way for me. Gutho still managed to get it done with two big scores back to back, which really hurts because there's a lot of lost points there. I don't want to add it up because it's going to hurt. I just know it's in the hundreds, 100-ish or more. So yeah,
it's real weird when things go against you.
200 maybe.
When things go against you, I think you've really got to keep your head. And I think that's what I've done this year that has kind of kept me up there. So let's go back to not getting Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
I didn't get Reece Walsh. I didn't panic. Didn't get him in. Didn't go for an absolute flyer in like a Will Kennedy at the time, although he would have been a pretty good purchase at the time.
Yep.
I went for just the good old trusty Latrell Mitchell. Captained him a few weeks. He did me well, went to Tedesco, and I just didn't do anything crazy. Us not getting Buller, all we had to do was getting Gutho and say we got in a Kennedy or Dylan Edwards as our second fullback. That could have been our reactive move to not having Buller. But I guess with the weekend just gone, I was always going to get in Dylan Edwards to negate not having Buller, but I thought about it and I'm like, why go against your team structure for something that's already happened? I think you should get on the thing that what you think is going to
ride the next wave.
Ride the next wave, exactly. And you're going to catch it. You're going to catch some waves. Don't bloody avoid missing the waves because you're worried you missed the last good one, because there could be a better one just around the corner.
So one of my favourite things about Supercoach, other than, commenting on players' hair, would be making sort of metaphors to other sports for Supercoach. So, that Supercoach is a marathon, catching the next wave. I've been thinking of poker and Supercoach very similar. I used to be quite a keen poker tournament player. And just talking to that, making mistakes and not panicking. It's like sometimes in a hand, you've got a pretty good hand. You've been dealt, you're like, I've got Will Kennedy. I feel like it's a pretty good matchup the next two rounds and it doesn't work out. then, you lose some chips. And then you start playing the next hands that you get really poorly, and you can start getting on tilt, as they say in poker. And I feel a little on tilt at the moment. However, I'm going to consolidate, chip in a chair, as I'd say in poker, and just sort of, get back to basics.
It's a lot like gambling, isn't it? It's like you can have a terrible week on the punt if you lose in one race and then you double down the next race and lose again. If you just stick to your method, you'll claw it back.
Sometimes,
gamble responsibly.
Sometimes, it's just like anything in life. You make a mistake and you try too hard to correct that mistake, and you only just keep making more mistakes and mistakes and mistakes. And
that's it.
So I'm going to try to get out of mistake land and get back to smart pokies. Another metaphor for you. I used to, the old smart pokies metaphor.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess talking about gambling while we're here, Picklebet have a Origin special promotion tomorrow, and I think this is great. Tommy Turbo, first try scorer. You don't have to bet on Tommy Turbo, first try scorer, by the way, but you can get Tommy Turbo, first try scorer. If he doesn't score first and he scores second, you'll get paid out as a winner. On Picklebet only. Max bet is $10, so they don't want you to go overboard because first try scorer, it's a bit volatile sometimes. So first try scorer, Tommy Turbo, $10. Put your house on it because it's happening.
You can't put your house on it. It's $10 max bet. So unless of course, obviously, your house is something that you've made in arts and crafts or something that you've got from one of the kiddos at school.
But just make sure to know what you're gambling with. You lose more than you win. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Use the code TURBO when signing up. Because use the code TURBO. Turbo is 3 times more likely to score, and statistics don't lie.
Just putting that energy out into the
exactly
cosmos.
Before we get on to some Supercoach chat, which we already have, July drinks, they're coming up. They're about a month away now. So July 22nd, round 21, Panthers Sports Bar at 3 p.m. The Supercoach Whisperer is already locked in to come. We have a lot of people coming, and it's a very casual event. We've booked our table. Super Saturday. We're going to be there from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. pretty much. Later, do I dare say? I think by 9 p.m. I could be done. I could be completely done. If you do want to come down,
Savs does like a back door.
I love a back door.
Yeah.
Like the smoke bomb, not like
not the back door that you and Mikey were talking about on the show.
But yeah, if you want to come down, say hey. We'll be doing a bit of content down there, so just asking people questions with the microphone.
That's fun.
Just so I think that's a nice way to if you want to come down and join in, so be it. There was one more bit of housekeeping that I had to get to, but we'll get to it shortly.
Sure.
Weekend scores and your rank. How'd you go?
I think I went up a little bit, even though being quite disappointed with the week. So many low scores. I'm sitting in 2013th, and my score was 975. I captained Nico with a vice captain of Manu. Decided to still go all in with Nico there. Another poker metaphor, I guess we could say. And just some really stinky performers. Sivo put up 27 for me. Junior Tupu, who I was quite keen on instead of Bulla, who's just been scoring me 30s, 40s, 20s. So, yeah, that's not great. And Sony Luke, I guess he came into... I didn't actually end up playing him, so I ended up with 15 people after having Pele. So, a bit disappointing, but a few duddy sort of players to make up those numbers.
It really felt like this was going to be the week that Sonny Luke was going to come out and score something.
Yeah.
He's just been a ball of disappointment. He has re-signed with the club, so I do have hope for him in the future. It's just Supercoach-wide, it's probably not the season. If Mitch Kenny goes down, he's going to be a nice little hold to end the year. So I guess that could be something you hope
I'd love
happens.
him to turn into something for me because he's a big conundrum at the moment.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Yeah, 1,064. I only had 12, and I was very worried about last week. I was pretty much hoping to hold or drop no lower than 200th.
Yeah.
But I came out, had the right players. My 12th player who I thought was going to be, Franklin Pele or something. It wasn't Franklin Pele. It was Tom Eisenhuth. Came out and scored me 44, which
That's a nice medium.
I'm happy with that. He's starting this week, so I'm like, he was someone that I really wanted to get rid of just because I don't want so much dead wood in my side by the end of the year. But when he plays, he scores 40, so maybe I don't need to be too worried about him. I went up to 98th, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's massive. Nice.
Into the top 100, 200 away from the top 10.
Yeah, when you started telling me those numbers in the chat, I was a bit shocked because I always just imagine that first and the top 10 and top 20 or whatever are still 1,000 points away, But to have that little bracket so close to where you're at, that's very, very... Whew.
It's very nice. I'm in a position now where my first reaction... I told Hads this. Hads had a great week, scored 1230.
Yeah, that's a big score.
He's very nicely set up. I think if I had his side, I'd be very happy. His first thought was he wasn't going to trade this week, but when he heard that, his first thought was, I need a trade to get a good side this week.
He doesn't need to rush it. You don't need to sprint to the front of the pack just yet. You can just sort of coast along.
My first thought was, okay, I've got a good 17 as it is.
Mm-hmm.
If I hold base this week, save 2 trades, and then move on to the next couple of weeks with trades up my sleeve still, I think that's the way to go, 100%.
It's a perfect time for you to hold trades purely because, if you're going to be especially picking up guys that might be backing up from Origin, you don't know what sort of minutes or what sort of, if they do back up and how they're going to back up. And so it's a bit stressful, especially if you look at your 17 and go, yeah, that's a pretty good side. Run that out and use those trades for the stresses you're going to have in coming weeks.
Hosking not being named has thrown a spanner in the works, though.
Yeah, huge for us, yeah.
And we will talk about that when we get to team lists. But I think if you are up at the pointy end, don't panic. Don't try and get up there now because we saw earlier in the season that I have friends who were ranked 60th before round 13. They had 4 players in round 13. They were down to 1900th in 1 week. So that's how much it can change for you. Just keep going at it. Save trades where you can. I can't stress that enough. Round 27 is going to be so tough this year because we usually get 24, 25 rounds every year.
Yeah.
We have 27 with the same amount of trades. People are running out, and I have 15 left, but I've saved 5 before the buys. I'm never in this position. There are people that are going to be in single digits at the moment. So I think if you have saved enough, if you have spent them all and you're good for 19, I'd probably just try and save as hard as you can. Because you can still claw it back because people are still using their trades because they think they've done well from here on out. They don't need to worry about it anymore. You can still save your season.
Yeah, I think it's very team dependent, obviously, which strategy you sort of take out. Everyone's going to be in a little bit of a different position.
Yeah, that's right.
Depending on how many numbers they've got for this week, they might need to make some trades. Like if they're in my position and have 8 players on the bye this week, which is far from ideal. The reason those numbers are so bad is some of them, they're kind of my nuffier players like a Pele.
Yeah.
So
I think this week's fine. This week's fine to use trades because you got to get a good 17 on the park when you can. But like a week like next week, a lot of people will be attacking and trying to get that next player to jump on that wave.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to miss out on it.
Yeah, I think the strategy I'm going to take as I go, there might be a guy I really, really want, but if the matchup's not necessarily that perfect, or maybe the BE's a bit higher and there's enough reason to be like, I don't need to do it yet, I'll wait till the week after or something like that and sort of try and time it a bit better rather than just try, rush to get the guy because they seem like the nice thing to have.
We're in a nice little spot with Supercoach at the moment. The Titans are the first team to finish their bye. The Sharks, Tigers, and the Bulldogs are going to be the next after this week. Who are you eyeing off? I do want to talk about someone just quickly who is on the most traded out this week, Dream Buller. He's very highly traded out, and I get why. He's made his cash. But do you think people are jumping the gun just a bit too quickly?
No, not necessarily. I think if Brooksy and Appy were still there and the Tigers were that side from a couple of weeks ago that were starting to get a bit of a roll on and play some decent sort of footy, then I'd just probably hold him for as long as he's pumping out hundreds and thereabouts. But, yeah, I get the vibe it's going to be harder for him to do that now. So maybe take the money you've made from him and then pick the right gun. I don't think you have to do it this week. You know what I mean? You can wait a week if you're not too sure who you want or the guy you want doesn't look that appealing this week. But, yeah, I think it's time for him to go just based on the fact that they're looking a bit depleted now.
Still got the talent and 43 in base last week. Pretty good for a rookie fullback. He's still going to do the job for you, but more often than not, these other fullbacks later in the year, they're going to be the guys that hurt you Supercoach-wise. And I don't think having Dream Buller in your side is going to make a difference.
Yeah, it did for the last sort of 5 to 6
last few
rounds.
weeks. But it's happened. It's happened now.
Yeah.
Don't get on to the next wave.
Yeah.
Is what we say. But who are you targeting in these other sides?
Well, there's not that they're in any of these sides particularly that I'm sort of targeting. The person that I'm sort of kind of keen on this week, I think for me, is maybe Munster. But then I decided I just want to watch Origin, see how everything unfolds before I get to make the first game this week is Friday, so we get Origin tomorrow on Wednesday. Get a day off in between to start sort of reassess, get more information about how everyone's tracking, and then go from there. But in the Bulldogs, there's probably not a great deal of players in those sides that I'd be looking to pick up for the run home. I don't think that there'd be any in the Tigers now that they're depleted either.
Yeah.
So the Sharks would be the only place I'd be sort of looking at of those three sides. Because you were saying after this round, they've completed their buys and they've said, a lot of games available. So from the Sharks, I think you could just pretty much pick a player and go, I'll go with that guy.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's a good thing. He's still scoring okay without going sort of massive. He's surely 60 last week, only one try in that, which is...
Yeah, I think that you're going to get big scores with him, though.
Yeah.
With him, he's going to have his 100-plus games, and he's scoring these one-try games and still scoring 60 most weeks. You're going to have a week where he scores 30, 35, 40. That's okay, but more often than not, he's scoring 60 and above.
The other one I really liked, that we've been talking about this bloke for a while, and as we have for Ronnie Mulatalo as well, but Brenton Nikora, I think he's the next best in their side for just that consistent scoring, but also has potential upside. I love how he's been just sneakily shifting himself out onto the winger.
Yeah.
And he's got such a slender little
like
body.
That, eh?
Yeah, and they just hit him, and he's just pegging it down there, and I don't know what the move is. It's a weird move, but I like it.
I like it too.
And it's weird that he pops out there and he looks fast, and the leanness and speed of him, I just reckon there's a lot of tries in him. So I like him him and Ronnie are the two best, I reckon.
I think there is too. The Sharks have been a little underwhelming though. I know they won by 50 on the weekend, but not much went out to the outsides. It was all in the middle. Yeah,
it was all through the middle of that game. Yep.
And I think that
Nico was a bit, few flat forward balls and stuff like that. But look, the guy's been so good for so long.
Just going back to it, you didn't loot Manu.
Yeah, I actually was shocked at, that I thought the score was going to be about this, 40. I actually thought it'd be closer to 60-0 or 60-6 or something like that. And I thought Nico would be in majority of those tries because it went so through the middle. There was a lot of Blake Brayley getting involved and not Nico having his hand on the try assist as much. But yeah, I was pretty confident this was going to be a 200 sort of score. Just with the whole not getting picked for Origin, I thought he'd really respond. But Nico seems pretty chill. He sort of just went out there and played with he didn't seem to be like that FU attitude. I don't think that's him anyway. Yeah. But I still thought he'd want to play. He still played
good
well.
And just
but there was
himself.
Just a few mistakes there.
Imagine if he was playing the Dogs the week earlier, just like the halfback audition, Just went to the right person playing the Bulldogs at the time.
Yeah, I guess you.
But looking back at it, I've had a week to reflect on it. Mitch Moses in halfback.
I'm really excited about
don't
Mitchy
hate it.
Moses. I'm really excited about him.
Yeah?
Even though I'm a big Panthers boy, and we said last week, I feel like it sucks that if Moses wins and takes home the series for us, and it might be his spot.
Yeah.
That sucks for Nath because. He's like he feels like a little brother to me, even though I've never really met him other than probably when I've been drunk in Panthers a few times and insisted on a photo. But yeah, Moses he's cool, man. He's got swagger, and I feel like he'll like this big moment of being, everything against the world, and I can see him having a big one.
He has grown, and he has grown on me in a long period of time. It's taken a long time, and he's had good seasons where you think, okay.
He seems bratty as a younger boy.
Yeah.
A little bit bratty.
He does, but you think, once he's had that good season, he's just going to go back to normality, have an average season again, and then have the odd big game. But he's been doing it pretty consistently, so I'm not too worried that he's going to be the halfback. I'm actually quite excited. I guess Origin. Let's just touch on Origin quickly.
Sure.
What are you looking for? Supercoach-wise, who are you keeping an eye on to make sure they're sweet?
Yeah, well, I've only got 2 Origin players, and they're probably the ones that I wish I didn't hold on to now based on the draws and stuff like that. So I've got Walsh and Cook, and I've looked at that Jay Schubert. He's all over Twitter with showing really good graphs and stuff for buy planning and also information on predicted BEs and price drops and stuff. And he's got the Walsh and Cook and both set to have the least amount of games out of all the other Origin guys.
God.
I mean, Cook kind of just fell that way because he ended up getting named. But,
Yeah.
And Walsh I was just really staunch on wanting to hold. But they're my 2 guys I held. Wish I held on to Tino with him killing it the way he had been going. And but he wasn't killing it when I had him. So, the 2 guys I'm keeping an eye on. I'm pretty confident Walsh will back up. I guess it just depends on the minutes for Cook. But I hope he backs up. I'm not too worried about. I just kind of know the guys seem like they'll back up. How they did last week.
Yeah.
I feel like their name pretty much they'll play. I think maybe game 3.
It'll be different. It'll be different. We have someone is not named to back up, but we will get to it very shortly. But I guess before we move on, we got some good feedback from the what's it called, Getting to Know Your Favorite Supercoach podcaster episode.
Mikey, This Is Your Life, yeah.
With Mikey, This Is Your Life. Got a few messages, so very thankful. We're going to have, I think this is going to be like a fortnightly/monthly thing. I can't quite commit to doing it weekly at the moment, so that'll come out once a fortnight, once a month, probably once a fortnight, because I think that's a nice little medium, not too far apart, not too close together. So go check that out if you want to hear about Mikey and his life. There's a few stories in there. There was a spa story that people quite liked. A few other stories.
Pretty raunchy.
It's pretty raunchy. If I had to put a rating on it, it'd be definitely R18+. Team lists have dropped, and it's, in my opinion, pretty big team list Tuesday.
Yeah, it sucks for me. Like, there's 2 guys that I was really banking on playing. One of them we'll get to. I'll let you run us through the...
Yeah. So Ben Hunt is named despite requesting an immediate release and offering to pay $150,000 from his own pocket to leave the club. 2 days after Origin, after playing big minutes, we assume, in another state. Very harsh, but that's for the moment. I guess Supercoach-wide, it's not going to really affect anyone. But Luke Metcalf,
except for SJ. SJ's going to have a bloody field day.
Luke Metcalf is named at number 6.
Yep.
If you have a spot in your number 6 area and you're looking for someone, he's okay. He's got a negative break-even at the moment, 314K, starting to warm up. Jackson Ford named to start. I think that's always good for the owners that have held on. And there's not much else there. To be honest, there's Murdoch Masila on the bench. A bit of an A nightmare. But moving on to the Dolphins versus the Eels. Firstly, Gutho, negative 14 break even after 230 scores. Is he a trade-in? The negative break even hurts. But yeah, what are your
Why
thoughts?
does a negative break even hurt?
Well, because it just means you can still get him in. Like,
Oh, yeah, for you that owns
oh
him.
no, it's not for me that owns him. It's for the other people who want to skip.
Oh, yeah,
If
okay,
they're
yeah,
looking at skipping him, they look at that negative break even and think it's a pretty risk-free move.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you want to do, though. Like, because he seems like a pretty popular option. I guess if you just think he's going to keep scoring well, then you get him. If you think that, it might be hard for him to keep scoring well and you want to go a bit more of a potty option, depending on how many pods or what your strategy is, you might be right up the top and want to start trying to block, potential people that could hurt you. So maybe if you're in the top 5 or something and you don't have Gutho, you might go, I might need to get Gutho,
Yeah.
just in case this keeps up. Yeah, so I think he's still a buy, though.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too.
I think it just depends. Like, if a lot of people have probably already made their call.
Yeah, he's been very consistent, and I couldn't knock him as a buy. And if you do want to skip him, I get it as well. I think if you're expecting the big 130 plus scores, I think they're about finished for now.
They're few and far between for him. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not a regular thing. Yeah.
Like, I was very surprised that he did it 2 weeks in a row. 1 try with the line break compared to 3 tries the week before. I know how Supercoach scoring works, and like I understand how it's happened, but it's just funny how things work. How like 3 tries and a try assist first. Like, he got the goal kicking on the weekend, so
Bumped him up.
a
Was in
bit.
everything. So
Yeah, exactly. Valence Tafare plays 19, 250k, 7 break even. So you probably could wait a week and potentially might go up to 300k. But do you like the look of Valence Tafare?
I'm pretty sure he's coming into my side now that you sort of mentioned that he was in on our drive here. I got very excited because I put my team into a bit of a pickle. Picklebet sponsor.
Use code Turbo.
That's right. So yeah, I put myself in a pickle. I was going to sell Eli Katoa,
Yep.
who is not named this week, but I thought, hold on to him because he's going to get named. I ended up selling Howarth, who was my nuff, which is good because I got rid of a bit of that dead wood, got an extra player in my side, bought Gay Guy, but now I've got no money. I used all of that Cleary, Fafita sort of money that I sold off, and now I'm sort of can't make 2 trades work. I don't going to be able to bring in one guy and then a cheapie, and I'm like, I don't really want to nuff out again, so I think he's my guy.
Yep. I like it. There are a lot of cheapies.
There's a few options.
There's a few options this
so I have
week.
to look a bit closer.
On the wing there for the Dolphins, Braden McGrady looks a good player, but as we've seen, Jack Bostock's come in and out for the Dolphins. We've had a lot of different options come in at the Dolphins, so I think you've got to wait till his 3rd week. Ray Stone, named. Pretty good. There's not much else there. Mitch Moses named to back up, and also the Dolphins in Hammer named to back up as well. It is in Brisbane, the Origin game, so I expect these guys to back up on the Saturday at 3 o'clock. Yeah, not much else doing here.
Lemu on the bench. For people, there'd be some people that still have him. There'd be quite a few.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Dolphins, they've got a pretty good side, the Dolphins. I think we could expect, if you held on to Moses, I'd be a bit worried here because the Dolphins have let a few points in. Felice Kafusi and Kenny Bromwich back in the back row.
Yeah, they look like they've gone down the gurgler over the last couple of weeks and it might have fallen off a cliff, but maybe with some of these players back, I'm sure Wayne can sort of
And mind
get them
you,
going again.
all these bad performances have been in New South Wales, not in Queensland. So I think Dolphins really get Queensland. Newcastle versus Penrith at Bluebet Stadium. Greggy Marju's back. How good?
Yeah, well, I hear he's got an alarm clock now, and he's been making the bus, so good on him.
Jerome Luai's named to start. If he is a late out, Jamin Salmon performance on the weekend. I think with all the cheapies here named this week,
You can avoid some.
you can avoid like Dylan Lucas, 240k negative break even. I like the look of him. And Tyson Frizzell's named. Fitzgibbon's out. Fitzgibbon Let's have a look at the report here. Lachlan Fitzgibbon being stood down after failing a HIA in round 16. I think he's been a very good player for quite a bit, but I think just in the little 1%ers, like that offload that he tried to throw in his own half on the weekend, that was bloody ridiculous. I think he was just taken off for a HIA because that was a bloody dumb offload. So yeah, Dylan Lucas looks like him another week, and then who knows, Fitzgibbon might come back in, but it looks like they kind of like him.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed on him myself.
It's just it's someone in second row
if you
can't do that. So I wouldn't be too against it, but he doesn't play around 19, so
yeah,
probably just avoid, because these players you get in now, you do want them to be helpful for you in round 19.
Yeah, we're getting low on trades.
And I know we've probably got enough numbers, most people.
Yeah, a lot of people have banked too. Just be wise with it and don't go mental like I did last week.
That's it. But the big news of the game, Zach Hosking, 18th man, Liam Martin named to back up, and Scott Sorensen keeps that edge roll.
Yeah, very stressful for my side. I really needed the numbers this week. I've got Katoa, Eli Katoa, and Hosking not playing, so that's annoying. Hosking, I'm really hoping Martin has a blinder, leaves everything out on Suncorp, and Ivan decides to give him a rest. Recalling Hosking back into the side, I really need him to play this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's a weird one. I don't know why. I just don't know why we wouldn't play Hosking instead of. Surely Hosking doesn't need a rest as much as what Liam Martin will.
I would think at least this week, bring Martin off the bench, back out from Origin. They don't need.
We lost last week. Is it an overreaction being like, we need to get the best team on the field and make sure we win this one? Or
yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty tricky one, but yeah.
Hopefully.
It's a bit awkward because it is the third game, and, there's players like, I'm looking at getting in Tohu Harris for him this week.
Yeah.
That game already plays before that, so I think Hosking...
Maybe you'll get an indication, though, on Wednesday night.
There you go.
Same happens to Liam Martin, or he just plays massive, massive minutes. Maybe that might be a bit of an indication.
I like it. Before we move on to the next game, I just want to give a shout out to Glenmore Park Cricket Club. Sadly, hearing the passing today of Hadley Blue, who I played a bit of cricket with him, against him a lot of the time, and he... I didn't know him too personally, but I know I saw the news today, and I just really wanted to mention it because if you play park cricket in the Penrith area, I think he played he played a lot of games, but every time I played him, I remember him because he just always had a smile on his face when he ran into bowl. Got me out a few times, so he had it over my mate, where my mate just hated every time he come on and bowl. He'd just try and whack him. He was a left arm bowler. I know every time I saw him off the field, he was just the happiest bloke, and I couldn't believe the news when I saw it today. He just a great bloke, and shout out to Glenmore Park Cricket Club and
family. I guess.
My thoughts and prayers are with his family, because he was honestly, he's one of them guys that. I'm struggling to put into words here, but you meet them and probably top 3 nicest blokes I've ever met.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Nice infectious energy, yeah.
Just every time you saw him, happy face. Hate to bring the podcast down, but I just thought, I've seen some people comment on the post who are Supercoach fans, so
sure.
Just thought, yeah.
Yeah, touch on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Manly versus Melbourne. Tom Trbojevic, not named to back up. -41 break even. This is a blessing for us super coaches.
Yeah, it means we don't have to make a rush decision this week. It could be it's probably not ideal for people who do have him. They'd want him to play, but yeah. It's a tough one. I feel like I really want to sort of see how he gets around, because you're kind of making a final decision that you're locking him in as one of your fullbacks.
Yeah.
He's pricey. I think assuming he's good to go, he's probably top 2, especially with a bit of speculation on a few of the others. What's your thoughts? Are you going to rush him in as soon as he comes, or you want to see how he returns?
It's such a tough one, isn't it? Because my plan next week was to go Teddy to maybe Will Kennedy and bank 100K, but Manly play the Roosters at Four Pines Park next week, so
seems nice.
It's a nice matchup, but it's not a perfect matchup to rush him in. But with a negative 41 break even and potentially he misses 19 for sure, 20. I don't think you'll back up in round 20. He plays.
I feel like you need to just get him in the week he plays. If you want him, you kind of have to. Otherwise, you're just paying too. It's the chance you're going to have to.
He plays the Cowboys at Four Pines Park in round 20. So if he backs up, I think by then you'd want him. He'll be 840K by that time.
He's like
770 or something now.
Okay. Yeah, definitely one to watch for Supercoach. I think we need to start considering what order we start bringing these guys back in.
And you can't just wait till after the buys either. I think you do. You can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You do have to.
That's why I'm sort of on the thinking I might try to just get Munster back.
Yeah.
In now. Yeah.
And if you've got the numbers, it's probably a good time to do it. Josh Schuster has done his job for the buys. He's named, but a little birdie tells me that you're not rushing to get him out.
Yeah, saw a little piece on interview with him, a 20-minute clip on the YTKR channel. So did I mix it up?
No, you got it right.
Okay, yeah, sweet. Well, why'd you laugh?
Because you got it wrong.
Did I get it wrong?
YTKR.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, yes, yeah, I don't know.
The Ebbs and Flows podcast on the YKTR.
Yeah. I'm not hip with all the jargon the kids using these days, but I liked the interview. It was just, just a little chat with him. He was just talking confidently about how he's realised he's got a lot of talent, but he needs to sort of work hard to match that talent.
Yeah.
And that's something that he's now sort of understanding, and I feel like I like to sort of see him put that hard work and talent into the pot and stir it up and, see what happens. So I'm thinking I might hold him a little bit if I can.
He's the kind of guy where you can play on matchup, and he can get bulk attacking stats as well. So I don't hate it either. Eli Katoa's not named. Tom Eisenhuth named a starting prop. How good. I feel like I go on about Tom Eisenhuth, but seriously, most niche shit purchase that you could have.
Very underground.
Very underground. Munster's named to return. And Jerome Hughes. Did you get him in?
No, I didn't. I've got SJ and Hines.
That's okay, though. You're pretty happy in that position. I think I convinced a couple of people to do it. Mikey, in particular. And it's worked out nicely. So 120 2 weeks ago. Comes out, gets 86 on the weekend. Small break even of 2. I think he's going to be a nice stepping stone to Cleary.
Yep. I feel very happy about my, just to toot my own horn, SJ is about 700K with a negative break even, been pumping out big scores, doing it.
And one of the most traded in players this week as well.
Another guy I watched an interview with recently too. I like watching interviews with players that I've got in my super.
With SJ?
Yeah. I'll try to find out where. I can't think of it now. I'll probably do the name of the show wrong and you'll laugh at me again. Now I'm insecure and nervous.
Oh, what, like the bloke on a stool
the bloke in a
pub. The bloke in a pub podcast. Broncos play the Titans. And as I said, the Titans are the first team to finish their buys. Dave Fafita named to return. Pierre Cora starts, which is interesting. But one guy I do want to point out, and I don't know if I should point it out.
Oh, you've got a bit of a something up your sleeve. So I think sometimes you've got to keep those up your sleeve.
You reckon?
Sometimes. Do you want to whisper it to me and I'll tell you whether it's worth keeping up your sleeve?
I feel like I've talked about it in the group chat.
Okay, bring it up.
Philip Sammy.
Yeah, I think he's a good option as well. I don't know that he's I love the way he plays. Like he's got that. He's got a bit of Karaziness about him, where he just comes back in and he seems to find a few tries, doesn't he?
He does.
He can be the victim of moving into the centres. and wing around a bit. But yeah, I don't mind him. He's about 600k.
He's 594. I'm not going to rush him in this week. I was going to because I just wanted to be the first to do it. But
Yeah.
he is playing the Broncos. But then after that, he's got Canberra, Dolphins. It's a bit of a mixed draw, to be honest. It's not the greatest draw in the world, but he's just the kind of guy that I think can be.
Could make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
And I
that.
like him. Averaging quite well this year. He's averaging. Where do you find averages? Average 59 this year. He's got a few tons. He has 1 ton actually. 85, 45, 74, 52, 63, 69 in the last few weeks. So
Yeah.
I think at the price, I like it. And with the Titans and their nice draw, I think he's going to be a guy that can come in and out for players like Marju and Johnston for me, week to week.
Yep.
He doesn't have to be that fourth guy.
Yeah, don't play him on the tougher matchups.
Yeah.
I like all the scores are pretty solid. When you just look at the run of scores he's had, nothing really stands out as bad except for like round 3 where he scored 10. The game before they scored 24. But other than that, there's a lot of positivity, like a lot over 60. So yeah, I like him as an option. It is a nice pod too. Yeah.
I think I'll do that next week. If
Have another look at him this week.
I do want to do it this week, but with Hosking not being named, I think I need to make a move there. Cowboys versus the Rabbitohs.
The price of Hoskin, can we stop on that?
Yeah.
He's like sub 500k. Do you reckon there's a world where we just hold him, or do you think the fact that he's not getting the 80-minute games now when he's done his dash?
A part of me thinks like if there is an injury in one of the back rowers, he moves into a role. But Liam Martin's been in and out anyway, so
With Nath not there, it's not as nice as well.
yeah. Does Hosking need more than one injury for him to be relevant? Like he's holding his price quite well, so I think when he does play, he's not going to be an AA nightmare. He's not going to lose his price. I think that's where he's going to be priced.
Yeah.
I think his value comes when he's the main second rower. And earlier in the season, they
Don't reckon he's going to hurt selling him? Like, you don't reckon he's the type of guy you'll work down the back of this season and be like, oh, what are we selling for?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have that quality. does
no.
he? Yeah.
I think either way, sell, hold. He will. I think he will play maybe one more game, definitely in round 20. I think they won't risk backing everyone up there, so you can wait. But I guess
So you reckon this is his go now? He's off the bench?
no. He's 18th man, so he's not named at all.
Yeah, right. Do you reckon that's a 1 week thing?
Their side looks pretty full strength without Cleary.
It's just weird that, you'd have him as a starter and then you have Salmon as... I guess maybe Salmon because he's got that quality of being able to play 5'8", second row.
With Salmon having such a good game on the weekend, I see it now.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't had to use that in the past because Cleary hasn't got injured mid-game. For some reason, they had Cogger on the bench, luckily, that game. Luai hasn't been injured mid-game. They haven't had to put anyone into the halves. I think he
Covers
is a
that.
nice little cover for the halves, for back row. Like, if he doesn't cover an injury, he can play 20 minutes in the back row. Liam Martin can either go in the middle or have a rest himself, and the same with Scott Sorensen. So I think
Sorensen's won that spot over him, it seems, and Martin's won that spot over him, but Sorensen's found his way into the starting side.
Sorensen a final 17 player.
He could be, but I kind of also get the feel that maybe they rotate Hosking and Sorensen and a few of these other guys around a bit
I don't know. I think
to keep them a bit fresh into the...
I think they took so long to do it at the start of the season with Luke Garner, Hosking, Liam Martin in and out that they're going to settle on this.
Yeah, right, okay.
And they lost games early in the season as well. So, yeah. Richard Kenner is named to start on the wing, 250k with a negative 21 break even. I had him in my side prior to the Valence news. And I think if you are planning on getting both, he's probably the guy to get in this week.
Yeah, you were going to mention that you were considering bringing him in until you found out about some of these other cheapies that have emerged. Yeah, he seems like he could be a bit of an enough that could reappear when there's opportunity that presents. He doesn't ever seem like he's going to be an AE nightmare. He'll either start and play in the side or won't be there at all. So it's just not a bad option for this time of year. On the back of a Bunnies backline, could find some pies there. I don't mind him at all.
That's it. For the Cowboys, I just want to quietly toot my own horn.
Please.
Just a little bit. In round 6, after a score of 84, I suggested Kyle Felt as an option.
He's gone on with it, has he?
He is 638k.
Wow.
He's made 300k since I suggested it. He, in round 13, when you would have played him, he scored 97. In round 16, when if you hadn't sold him by then, 96. Scores before that, after I suggested it, after he's 84, he scored a 36 the week after. So I think after I suggested it, people would have just been like, no. 78, 51, 36, 84, 57, 97, 96.
Pretty good. A few of those 37s are annoying, but all the other players I've got in my side seem to be popping out them anyway. So.
638k with a 15 break even.
Too much now.
I mean, it's too much now, but if I jumped on then, you wouldn't have known the right time to sell him as well. Like I don't think you would have held on to him till round 16, but I just wanted to toot my own horn just a bit quickly there. Cody Walker named at 5'8", good news for him. Koala Matangi back. Kalifi Feku is in the starting side. I guess Nanai is named to back up. He's on the extended. They did this last time where Valentine Holmes was named on the extended, came into play, scored 150. It hurt me a lot. In the last game of the round, the Roosters versus the Raiders, Teddy named to play, Manu named at centre.
Yeah, well, it's annoying, I guess, but pretty predictable.
It's where he's going to play for the rest of the season, and I think the fact that he's going to be the backup fullback.
The only reason I don't mind him as a hold, although he hasn't been great all year, particularly even at centre for Supercoach, he normally goes average and goes enough to you hold him. You prefer him at fullback or 5'8", but I just feel like because of the Roosters always seem to find some charge to the finals, and their form just gets really good week after week after week. I think maybe he could still be a handy hold even in the centres. So I think it's one to just have a watch, wait, and if it doesn't seem it's going to pan that way, maybe then he might not be a final hold. But yeah, I'd give him a chance.
I think so too, and pretty standard on both sides of the park. Horse is named to start, and so is Tarpany, which is good news. Yeah, that's it for team list, guys. What are you doing this week? What are your trades?
So, yeah. So I think we tried to count the numbers for my side before we start recording. It seems like I've got 15 players. That's including Sony Luke. So I don't really want to count him, but I'm going to have to. So I'll probably have to play him this week. And if I make 2 trades, that should get me to 17, assuming no one else drops out and also that Cook and Walsh back up. So I'm thinking for those 2 trades, probably Munster's just where my first initial thoughts been around. Probably still Junior Tupu that just hasn't worked out for me. I would have minded holding on to Junior Tupu for a longer period to trust my eye and what I saw that I thought he was a decent enough Supercoach option. Just with the players that the Tigers have lost in key positions, I think it's going to be very hard for him to get on the back of scoring the amount of tries that I would hope. So still have the tackle bus and he's returning the ball, but it's not enough for me. So going to move on him. And was probably going to sell Udakamanu, but now with Hosking and Eli Katoa being not available, I'll probably sell one of them. I'll have to have a closer look at their runs home to work out which one of those 2. As I mentioned to you before, I kind of think it could be a blessing in disguise for me to hold Udakamanu. I was going to sell him, but being that there's other players that might seem like a more of a sell, I've got a feeling he could just come back from Origin. Feel like really start believing in himself because some Islander boys can be quite shy,
Well-
and I think just having that sort of bit of other people really, really believing in him, I think that'll allow him to really believe in himself and rip his hair.
The year you won in 2021, he went into Blues camp.
Yeah,
And
he came back.
he didn't play, but he came back and
was very good. It was
was
on
very
par
good.
with Payne Haas
Very-
scoring. So
very good to end the season. So I don't mind him as a hold.
yeah,
Myself, I think I was looking at not trading this week, but with the Hosking news, I do need to plug in someone in my second row. I can either get in Valance and
that's the other guy I'm probably getting. I didn't mention that, but yeah.
actually I don't need to get. I probably will get Valance because I think I need a cheapie.
I just need the cheapie. I've got no funds, so
Yeah.
yeah, to afford Munster, I need to do that.
I think I will go. Burbo to Valance, maybe.
Who was your other option you had there? That was
Burbo to Valance or Tom Eisenhuth, or I think
I'd sell Burbo.
I think with Burbo he's not going to be an AA nightmare. He might be later in the year, but
You reckon Eisenhuth could be?
or I think this is the thing that makes most sense. Schuster to Valance and Hosking to Tohu Harris. I haven't got Tohu Harris in my side, and that allows me to put him in second row where I have Tarpanay, Horsburgh,
Yeah.
and
Really like this.
Murdoch
You mentioned
and-
it before
yeah.
to me, and I love this.
Murdoch and Masilla in the front row, so I can swap between everyone. I don't want to get to the point where he goes into my front row for someone like Murdoch Masilla and stays there,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that
yeah.
would leave me with Fanua Blake, Harris, Horsburgh, and Tarpanay.
4 blokes that are all up there that are jewels. But
Yeah,
you can't move
yeah.
them down 'cause you don't have that piece down there.
Yeah, so I want to make sure maybe a Murdoch Masilla just stays there for the
Yeah,
year.
you don't need
He doesn't need to go. I have the cover in the second row at least to get him up there.
I like that. I think it's really smart. It seems a little vanilla for it's not like I'm big moving sort of play.
It does.
But it'll help you so much. There'll be so many weeks where what do I do? And everyone else will be stuck and you'll be like, whoop,
And it kind of
bench and then start.
it kind of foolproofs you for later in the season when you are stuck in a pickle where you're
running
like,
out of numbers and stuff.
oh, I need to make a trade to make something happen. It allows me to do something there. And in the past, I've been worried about spending too many trades on front rowers. This will be my 4th one, but I think
I've made heaps there too.
I also think the front row has been quite a bit of a difference for me as well. Getting in Horsburgh. I think if you didn't have Horsburgh,
AFB, yeah.
AFB was a massive one.
Having
Tarpan
having Payne Haas when like haven't had Payne
Yeah.
Haas all year yet. You nailed the
had
proper
Payne
one.
Haas in the start of the season, so maybe when it gets to a point, I can decide which one of these guys isn't going to kick on. I can go to Payne Haas, or they could even match him, and I could just skip him.
yeah.
And I think that's probably what I'm going to do, to be honest.
You're not going to get involved with the Tino.
I love Tino. He's too much at the moment, though. I think
Yeah.
800.
He can easily regress. He's looked very nice. He was like such a nice owner. I owned him from the start of the year and sold him prior to Origin. And he's sort of just been killing it just around this period. But he can easily go back to games where he's scoring 40, 50 points for you. And
That's it.
he plays big minutes. He makes loads of tackles, but without the tries. Yeah, but he definitely looks the pick of the bunch, I think.
Yeah, for
Seems
sure.
to have that longevity in him as well. His
For
body's just
sure,
very
for
fit
sure. And like he's backing up and scoring these scores. So I've just got a response from Kane Anderson of SC Hub fame. He got an I guess so for the July 22nd drinks from his other half. So
she says that she guesses he can.
yeah, he's trying to convince her because he's got kids, so he can't just go to Penrith from where he lives in Toukley or something. But it's closer to what he was before, which was maybe not. So
that's
so
good.
Kane Anderson, expert on Supercoach NRL. You see his face, his nice slicked back hair. He is
Dolphins
fame. He's going to be part of the July 22nd Panthers drinks. I guess so. Who are your captains?
My captain, not something I've thought about, but I reckon it's going to be a quick, easy thought. Yeah, look. Ooh. What looks really nice on paper at the moment is Reece Walsh against the Titans,
I like it.
and a vice captain of perhaps SJ on the Friday night. It's Friday, so not Thursday. I like that it's not Thursday. That makes me feel better, even though it's still kind of the first
Yeah.
game of the round. Still has a similar hoodoo about it. Probably might do that. I think that's where I'm going. Unless, if I bring Munster in, maybe I'll do something around that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm doing vice captain. It's just on Gutho at the moment. I don't think I'm gonna be looping him. He's playing the Dolphins in Queensland, so I might reassess there. But my captain is Nick Meaney at the moment against Manly without Turbo, no Gerbo
Kicking goals.
at Amy Park. That's the clincher for me. And
He's been waiting for a breakout game. He's been scoring well without looking amazing.
58 just goal kicks on the weekend. So
Yeah. Couple try assists, a try.
I don't know if this is going to be a big week, and I don't know who's going to be the most popular captain option because I feel like it's going to be Gutherson against Dolphins, but I'm going to skip
probably
him.
the most popular VC. Maybe not captain. I think people will still sort of VC early in the round and try captain late. There are a lot of people that just straight C and just get it out of the way, and then, or if they want to captain them, they find a vice captain in the game beforehand. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
how a lot of people tackle it. So
Well, most popular captain in the top 10% is Mitchell Moses at the moment, followed by Nico Hines, Sean Johnson, Cody Walker against the Cowboys, which I
Nico
don't mind.
Hines from last week, obviously.
Yeah,
he's
no,
on the
well, I
bye.
feel like there's a bit of truth in some of these. Like Mitchell Moses, maybe that actually is, or was that a loop?
Yeah, that
Luke
seems like
captain.
it could be last week too.
Yeah,
It seems
could,
bold
could
to
be
chuck it on Mitch Moses straight after
it could be a
Origin.
mixture of both, but I guess we'll wait and see. But nonetheless, good episode, Timmy.
Anyway.
We have a special guest next week. I'll be recording the Get to Know Your Favorite Supercoach podcaster
Who
before
is
that.
the guest?
Oh, do I mention it?
Oh, we sort of just we like to be more of a surprise, let people sort of see who's on when it come on.
Nah, I'll say
Bit
it.
of a tease.
I'll say it.
Go on.
Oh, maybe I'll wait.
Ooh.
I'll wait. All right, cheers, guys, for tuning in, and make sure to go the Blues and
Make sure to go to Blues. Go to the Blues.
go the Blues.
No, we got this. We can get this done.
Good luck.
Go up
with
there
this-
and bloody do an ambush, mate.
Good luck with this. Oh, actually, I gotta say, Jake, we haven't seen him in a few weeks. He can't make this time slot, so we're going to. We gotta. Yeah, we're gonna do a Bella Vista one soon or something. We could have done one today, but it would have been late notice for him. But yeah, Jake's still around and about. We're just trying to with this time slot, it's very hard. Yeah. Yes. Mikey's in the top 1K, and I wish Hads was on this week. I was very excited to have him on this week. But yeah, good episode, lads, and enjoy your super coaching.